Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadara, Sri Vasadi, Gura Bhakta Vrinda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhu, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya, Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Jaya. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Gaura Haribo, Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura, Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Gaura Haribo, Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Gaura Haribo. Jaya Sriman Bhagavatam, Sriman Bhagavatam, Sriman Bhagavatam, Jaya Sriman Bhagavatam, Jaya Sriman Bhagavatam, Sriman Bhagavatam, Sriman Bhagavatam, Jaya Sriman Bhagavatam, Sriman Bhagavatam, Jaya Sriman Bhagavatam, Sriman Bhagavatam, Jaya Nitya Gaur Haribo, Haribo. Haribo, Gaura Haribo, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Guru Pramanande, Haribo. Yeah. Sarvasasra Vipiyusa, Sarva Vedaika Satvala, Sarva Siddhanta Ratnadya, Sarva Loika Kadri Prada, Sarva Bhagavad Prana, Sriman Bhagavata Prabhu Kalidwanto Dita Ditya Sri Krishna Parivartita Parama Ananda Partaya Primavasi Aksharayate Sarvada Sarva Sevyaya Sri Krishnaya Namusute Mandika Bandhu Masangim Manguru Madmadana Manistara Kamat Bhagya Madananda Namusute Asadu Sadhu Tadayim Atini Choshataraka Anamuncha Kadashimam Premna Hrit Kartayo Spuha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we want to welcome all of you to today's Srimad Bhagavatam Bhakti Vaibhav Module 2 class. In our last class, we ended in text 15, Canto 4, Chapter 1, text 15. And there, it was said that Anasuya, the wife of Atri Muni, gave birth to 3 famous sons, Soma, Dattatreya, and Durvasa, who were partial representations of Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva, and Lord Brahma. That Soma was a partial representation of Lord Brahma, Dattatreya was a partial representation of Lord Vishnu, and Durvasa was a partial representation of Lord Shiva. And it has a very beautiful purport, and a lot is explained by Srila Prabhupada there. Srila Prabhupada made the difference between the 2 types of Brahmans, living entities. And he described the Vipinasa and the Amsas also. And a lot was described there, a lot. He made a very beautiful analogy about the candle. The candle analogy was given in the purport. And finally, the gradations of living entities were discussed in relation to the candlelight analogy. Then there it is specifically said that the Vishnu forms are expansions of the Supreme Lord in different Vishnu forms are like lamps. Lord Shiva is also like a lamp. And the Supreme Candle power, or the 100% light, is Krishna. And the Vishnu Tattva has 94% of God. And the Shiva Tattva has 84%. And Lord Brahma has 78%. And the living entities are also like Brahma. That means a perfected living entity can also have 78%. But we are covered. Our power is dim. And that there are gradations of Brahma, and no one can deny this fact. Therefore, the word Atmisa Brahma Sambhava indicate that Dattatreya was directly part and parcel of Vishnu, whereas Durvasa and Soma were part and parcels of Lord Shiva and Brahma. And we had a very elaborate discussion on that until we came to hermeneutics. And the conclusion was that different stages, the living entities are manifested, but all the living entities are actually from the Supreme Personality of God as the source of all living entities. That the living entity originally come from the spiritual world, but they are manifested at different stages. So that we try to understand in our deliberation. So that is it. So prior to that, we also discussed that truly in the last canto 3, of the three daughters of Swayambhuva Manu, Prasuti, Devahuti, Akuti, Devahuti, and Prasuti. Devahuti was discussed elaborately, to the extent of how she was handed over to Kadama Muni and how they had 9 daughters and how they had 1 son, and the son appeared to be the Supreme Personality of God, Kapila Muni. Kapila Muni instructed Devahuti on the science of devotion. So the last 2 chapters of Canto 3 were glorifying devotional service. That whatever can be obtained by any other process is obtained by devotional service, and all that cannot be obtained by other processes is also obtained by devotional service. And what is that other processes cannot attain? The Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself. And the process of attaining the Supreme Personality of Godhead, therefore, is also superior to all the other processes. Therefore, Bhakti is glorified, and the Bhakta is glorified. And the relationship and perfection between the Bhakta and Bhagavan through Bhakti was glorified. To the extent that Devahuti actually attained perfection simply by meditating on the instructions of Kapila Muni. And that physical absence of Vipralamba Seva, as exemplified by Lord Chaitanya himself in his Antya Lila, is actually the foremost of all processes to think of the Lord in separation. So we came into this particular canto, and these 3 daughters of Swayambhuva Manu were discussed, and it was indicated how Akuti was given to Jagya, and Jagya and Akuti had 9 sons, 12 sons, and they were described, and the lineage from those 12 sons were described, to some extent. Then, because these daughters of Devahuti and their lineage was not discussed, we came back to Osita Prabhupada, came back to discuss them, or Sukate Goswami went back to discuss them. So in the previous test, we have been discussing that, the descendants of Devahuti. And we said that, yes, Hare Krishna. It's like only Madhavan is there. Okay, Jyoti Swarup is there also.
Yes, I'm also here, brother.
Yes. Only 2 of you are there. So anyway, we have been trying to describe how Hanasuya was given to Atrimuni, and how Atrimuni and Anasuya went to perform severe austerity, and how they were able to give birth to the 3 universal presiding deities, Vishnu, Brahma, and Shiva. How it happened is what we are going to read about now. So this is a continuation from verse 15. So we are going to read verse 16, and actually after here, more descriptions of the descendants, the genealogical table. So there is no much philosophical discussions on that, but we said verse 20 chapter text 20, where we should concentrate, because why acrimony was not counted among the pure. Why acrimony was not counted as a pure devotee is revealed. That acrimony, even though it gave birth to the expansions, Vishnu, Brahma, and Shiva, it was not counted among the pure devotees. Why is it so? You should know this, because this is one of the Purvaswadhyaya questions. And that is in verse 20. Then in verse 24, the meaning of Dandavat is explained. So pay attention to that. That is one of the Purvaswadhyaya questions. And there is purport there. This particular text, there are purports. And who did Narayana Rishi later appear as? It's also in text 59. And how many fire gods are there in total? It's also given in text 61. And why Sati, the 16th daughter of Daksha and the wife of Lord Shiva, could not produce a child, is also discussed, because Sati did not have a child. Why? That is discussed in the last verse. You see, and the next chapters are continuation from that line of Sati. So let us go now. Text 16. Text 16. Where are you? Vidura Uvacha. Oh, some nonsense are coming to interrupt me on my phone. That's why reading from phone is full of interruptions. Chapter
Can I
16.
read?
Text 16. Okay. I've gotten it. Vidura Uvacha. Trigri Sura Shrestha. Stiti Udpati Antaitava. Kinshich Chikrisavo Jata. Etad Akyaime Guru. After hearing this, Vidura inquired from Maitreya, "My dear master, how is it that the three deities, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, who are the creator, maintainer, and destroyer of the whole creation, became the offspring of the wife of Atrimuni?" So, purport. The inquisitiveness of Vidura was quite fitting, for he understood that when the super soul, Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, all appeared through the person of Anasuya, the wife of Atrimuni, there must have been some great purpose. Otherwise, why should they have appeared in such a way? So first of all, let's remember the name of the wife of Atri is Anasuya.
Anasuya.
Anasuya. Anasuya.
Anasuya.
Okay. Anasuya. So read the next verse, Sorry, Prabhu.
Okay, Prabhu.
Maitreya.
Vidur Uvacha.
It's Maitreya.
Atre Gruhe.
I read Vidura.
Sorry. Maitreya Uvacha. Brahmana Choditah Srushta Vatri Atrir Brahmavidam Vara Saha Patnya Yaya Vruksham Pulandrim Tapasi Sthiteha. Translation: Maitreya said, when Lord Brahma ordered Atri Muni to create generation after marrying Ansuya, Atri Muni and his wife went to perform several austerities. in the valley of mountain known as Shasha.
Rickshaw.
Rickshaw.
Yes. Okay.
No purport, Prabhuji.
No, Papa, read the next.
18. Tasmin
Yes.
Tasmin prasuna sabka palashoka kanane vribhi shahbir ugrasthe nirvidyaya samantatah. Translation: in that mountain valley flows a river named Nirvidya. On a bank of river are many Ashoka tree and other planet full of Palaksh flower. And there is always a swift sound of water flowing from a waterfall. The husband and wife reach that beautiful place. No purport. So next.
No. Next, yeah.
Pranayamena संयम्य मनोवर्ष सतं मुने अतिष्ठ दे देकपदेन पादेन निर्दवन्द्वो निलभोजन. Translation: there there the great sage concentrated his mind by the yogi breathing exercises and thereby controlling all attachment. He remained standing on one leg only, eating nothing but air, and stood there on one leg for 100 years.
Okay.
No purport.
Before we continue, let us take note that in those days when the couple is to procreate children, first they prepare. Both the husband and the wife prepare. They go perform some severe austerity because no one wants to give birth to a child that will not be great. Everybody wants to give birth to great children in those days. So they perform austerities first. They perform austerity, the husband and the wife, they perform austerity in preparations to wanting to beget children. So when they do that, their mind is elevated, their consciousness is elevated before they copulate, so that they can invoke a befitting child, because the consciousness or the time of conception determines the character of the child or the personality that they will invoke. So this has been the Vedic practice. This has been the Vedic culture. Husband and wife don't just go into illicit sex. They actually follow some rules and regulations. And luckily in our line now, form is to chant Hare Krishna together, do devotional activities together in preparation. Both the husband and the wife, they prepare their consciousness. And that's why even in ISKCON, before somebody manifests, he has to become a brahmachari for some time. And after he becomes a strong brahmachari, that means he can control the senses if he enters into household life. So after practicing sense control, he now comes into household life, so that even though the wife is present, he can still regulate his urges for just unrestricted sense gratification. So this preparation is very, very evident here. They were ready to procreate. So both the husband and wife, they left for a suitable place, a very serene environment Yes, this time by Mountain Nirvindya. Nirvindya Mountain, there were waterfalls, beautiful flowers, and birds are humming and chanting the mantra. The atmosphere was very natural and peaceful. So there, they didn't just copulate. They immediately started performing austerities, severe austerities for that matter. But the purpose is for procreation. They perform severe austerity, very severe austerity. And we are going to see the effect of that austerity or the nature of the austerity first, then the results. Because say there the great sage concentrated his mind by the yogic breathing exercise and thereby controlling all attachments. You know, he remained standing on one leg only, eating nothing but air, and stood there on one leg for 100 years. So this has been this is the secret. If you want anything specific, you have to perform austerity. Tapo diviam. That's why Receiver Dave instructed his sons. Say tapo diviam putraka yena satwam. Say perform austerity. Human form of life is meant for performing austerity. When you perform austerity, then you can approach, you can look for something. When you are desiring for something, you must perform austerity to purify your consciousness, purify your environment, purify yourself in and out before you go in for something. So by the same token, before you invoke children, you have to purify your consciousness. That's why if consciousness is not purified and you have sex at the wrong time, in the right place, in the wrong consciousness, wrong place, wrong consciousness, you are going to invoke very dangerous souls. And that was evident in the case of Kasyapa Muni. Later we are going to come into that. When his wife approached him and at the wrong time, in the wrong place. And he tried to restrict, but he said, no, 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 you must do it. No, 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 you must do. No, no, it is now or never. And he did. And Iran Kasipu were the results. You see, very dangerous. But sometimes destiny also plays a part, influencing the desire of the woman or the man. So we have to be very conscious, prayerful, so that our children should not become, we don't invoke children that become like the urine of our fathers. Oh, okay. So that is just attention I wanted to draw to. And we are going to read more and just come and discover why at Rimuni, despite all these powerful, wonderful austerity, standing on one leg for thousands of years, not eating anything but air, just not eating, not drinking. He stood there on one leg for 100 years. Yet it's not classified as a pure devotee. So why? Despite all these austerities. Anyway, we remember that even like Asibo perform a lot of austerity because that is the system. If you want something special, you have to first perform austerities, then you go for it. So let us read and see why Atri Muni was not counted among the pure devotees. Okay, someone else will read the sloka. Next sloka.
Text 20. Saranam Sam Kapajeham Ye Eva Jagat Ishwara Pajan Atma Samam Mayam Vaya Chasu Iti Chintaya. Translation. He was thinking, may the Lord of the universe, of whom I have taken shelter, kindly be pleased to offer me a son exactly like him. The purport. It appears that the great sage Atrimuni had no specific idea of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Of course, he must have been conversant with the Vedic information that there is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the creator of the universe, from whom everything emanated, who maintains these created manifestations, and in whom the entire manifestation is conserved after dissolution. Yatoba Imani, Urutani, the Vedic mantras give us information of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he concentrated his mind upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even without knowing his name, just to beg from him a child exactly on his level. This kind of devotional service, in which knowledge of God's name is lacking, is also described in Bhagavad Gita, where the Lord says that there are 4 kinds of men with backgrounds of pious activities who come to him asking what they need. Atrimuni wanted a son exactly like the Lord, and therefore he's not supposed to be a pure devotee because he had a desire to be fulfilled. And that desire was material. Although he wanted a son exactly like the Supreme Personality of Godhead, still it was material desire because he did not want the personality of Godhead himself, but only a child exactly like him. If he had desired the Supreme Personality of Godhead as his child, he would have been completely free of material desires because he would have wanted the Supreme Absolute Truth. But because he wanted a similar child, that was material. Thus, Atrimuni cannot be counted among the pure devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, can we now see why Atrimuni cannot be counted as a pure devotee? Jyotiswaru Prabhu, why Atrimuni cannot be counted as a pure devotee? Tell us. You are muted. Oh, I'm muted also. No. Why Atrimuni cannot be counted as a pure devotee? Jirasavan, can you explain to us why Atrimuni cannot be counted as a pure devotee?
Yes. Dandava Prana to all of you. Sorry for being late a little. We had some assignment. Yeah, Atrimony could not be counted as a pure devotee because his desire to have a son like the Supreme Personality of Godhead is said by Srila Prabhupada in the purport that his desire is material. If he were to desire the Supreme Personality of Godhead as his son, that one is spiritual. But he's desiring a child like that of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So based on that desire, his desire became affected. So it's not considered as a pure desire. So he's not counted, though undergoing heavy austerity, he is not counted as a pure devotee. And it is even explained that in that wise, he had knowledge about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he doesn't know him. He doesn't know him. So this is what I will express on that.
Okay, thank you. So, does anyone have anything to add to this? Because there are among devotees, there are very austere devotees. Some devotees, they fast on every Ekadasi and they are very austere. And in everything, they are more austere than everyone else. Is it a possibility that such devotees might be counted as non-pure devotees? And if so, why?
Yes, In that wise, we can fast for the Ekadasi, but if our desire is to have some material gains instead of requesting for advancing in pure devotional service or being engaged in the service of the Supreme Lord, then though we are fasting the Ekadasi is very, very auspicious, that it will give us material gains instead of the spiritual gain.
Will you try to change the thank you very much. Can someone else add to this? Because right now we are performing Chatumasya, and a whole month we fast from green leafy vegetable, and another month we fast from milk, we fast from yogurt, we fast from ura dal, we fast from banku, we fast from heba. So even after doing that, we might be counted as not pure devotee. Why? Because we have been doing this year after year, but when we observe ourselves, we see that we harbor a lot of hatred and backbiting and all kinds of. Why? Are we not getting purified? Can we still be performing all these austerities and not be pure devotees? Please, somebody should add, because this is what is happening among us. Somebody become very Hare Krishna.
Material. The problem you have wrong perception. Based on Krishna, that is the fact.
Okay, your voice is affected by ecstasy. Also, your voice is in ecstasy. Yeah.
When you join, you have to mute.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Please, I think many the rest should mute. They should mute so that they don't distract the audio. Many people are on mute.
If you are not the one talking, you should mute, please. If you are not the one talking, kindly mute. Okay. Saligi, it's like your network is having some challenges, and we can move ahead unless somebody else wants to add to this. We are performing Chatumasya, and despite all that, we might be counted as not pure devotee. We're performing austerities until we don't shave our beards, some of us, and during the last 5 days, we fast so vigorously. We fast so vigorously, not even drinking of water, and we cannot do any service anymore, and we cannot even climb the stairs, but we are fasting to finish the 5 days. Is it mechanical? Why is it that despite all that, there's no enough transformation in our hearts, that we see abhor, hatred among devotees, trying to, sometimes we practice politics among us ourselves? Why?
Hare Krishna,
Your hand
Prabhu.
is up, so.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Prabhu. All great unto your little feet. All great to Prabhupada. Well, it's just this material desire if one has ulterior motive, just like you mentioned, Kashipu, he has ulterior motive. And sometimes people with this motive, they are even more serious than ordinary people because of their strong desire to have this material things. So sometimes even someone can come to Krishna consciousness to acquire some power or for some very strong material desire. And immediately they obtain that desire. Many of them, they will leave. They can leave to go and start their church or whatever they like to do. So performing serious austerity doesn't mean that one is pure devotee or he has a very pure motive in serving the Krishna. That's the only difficult.
Okay. Thank you very much. So one can still be an impure devotee despite all the austerities one may perform. But does that mean devotees will not perform austerities? Because if we don't perform austerities also, we are like not serious too. Because those austerities that are recommended in the scriptures, like performing Chatumasya, fasting on Ekadasi, they are recommended by our acharyas. So does that mean we should not perform those austerities? Or in what state of mind should we perform those austerities in order to get a devotional result? One more contribution so that we can move ahead to read.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, we should perform austerity, but it has to be done with a pure mind, pure purpose, just to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We should see Supreme Lord as someone like a father. You won't say because your father chastised you yesterday, you are not going to pay respectful obeisance to him every day, and without any condition, no motive. So with such a pure mind, when we perform austerity, then we advance in Krishna consciousness.
Yeah, it's called Tapo Divyam. Tapo Divyam. Lord somebody recommended it for his sons. Okay, finally, before we go, I want to ask again. Tapo Divyam Putraka. The question I wanted to ask, like trying to escape me. The question tried to escape me. Okay, I will come back to it. Let us go ahead with the reading because today we have to go far because this particular chapter, there are no many purposes, so we have to go far. Okay. Somebody should read the next text. Now we know why Atrimuni was not counted as a pure devotee. That doesn't mean that we should not perform austerities. We should perform austerities, but we should refine our intentions. We should refine our intention. And as devotees, we should aim for transformation of consciousness. And so that our austerities do not harden our hearts and make us become very, very hard-hearted, determined, envious persons. We should transform our hearts. We should aim at becoming humble. We should pray for humility. The question I wanted to ask is this. There are many of us who are devotees that we don't have any inclination for praying. Because when you say, okay, pray, we don't know what to pray for. we don't want to pray for material things, but at the same time, we can see that all the great devotees, they are very prayerful also. So, what type of prayers should the devotee make? When everybody says, okay, everybody should pray. What type of prayers are we expected to make as devotees? I think we should pray to become to advance. We should pray to be able to control our senses. We should pray so that we should get the strength to implement devotional principles. We should pray so that we can develop enough strength to avoid envy. We should pray so that we can develop enough strength to serve other devotees and to develop humility and to be able to become very strict in our sadhana. We should pray so that the Lord will give us that strong determination to do devotional service to the end of our life. We should pray so that the material nature should not capture us as we are trying to do our devotional service. We should pray in order to become better devotees of the devotees of the Lord. We should pray to not allow the ghost of politics to enter into our consciousness. We should pray so that malice and envy will vanish from our consciousness so that we can become proper servants of the devotees. We should make such prayers. Hare Krishna. Okay, next verse.
Okay, I take it up.
21.
Yeah. Tapyamanam tribhuvanam pranayamaida sagina nirgatena mune mudna sambiksya pabhavasaya. Translation. While Atrimony was engaged in these severe austerities, a blazing fire came out of his head by virtue of his breathing exercise. And that fire was seen by the three principal deities of the three worlds, purport by his divine grace. According to Jiva Goswami, the fire of pranayama is mental satisfaction. That fire was perceived by the Supersoul, Vishnu, and thereby Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva also perceived it. Atrimuni, by his breathing exercise, concentrated on the Supersoul, or the Lord of the universe. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord of the universe is Vasudeva. Vasudeva Savam Iti. And by the direction of Vasudeva, Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva work. Therefore, on the direction of Vasudeva, both Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva perceived the severe penance adopted by Atrimuni, and thus they were pleased to come down, as stated in the next verse. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So austerity remains the key. When you perform proper austerity, you will attract the attention of the higher beings to help. They will query. Austerity is just a universal key for unlocking the door of the heavenly planets for the universal administrators to see you. Then they ask you, then, what do you want? When they ask you, what do you want? Then your real intention is now poured out. So demons can perform austerity and attract, higher beings also. Just like Vrikasura performed austerity until Lord Shiva had to appear. Hiranyakasipu performed austerities until Vishnu, Brahma has to appear. And when austerity is performed, we don't first forget the intention. Austerity itself is a key to unlock the doors of the heavenly planets for the devas to see you, and also to attract the attention of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and demigods. One performs austerity. So devotees should perform austerity, but they should perform divine austerity. What makes the austerity divine is the intention. So devotees should not be lazy and say we cannot perform austerity. Perform austerity. Okay? And secondly, we can see that even if you are not a pure devotee, you perform austerity, your austerity will attract divine intervention. Yes, even if you are not a pure devotee, you perform austerity to attract divine intervention. So let us, it's a bonus. Austerity is a bonus foundation for devotees. Let devotees be austere. Our main austerity we perform is to not to be conquered, overwhelmed by pride. We should practice austerity of mind, speech, and body. These three kinds of austerities are recommended. We should practice them as devotees. Austerity of the mind, speech, and body. Austerity to avoid everything unfavorable to the execution of devotional service. We should be determined to do that. And we should be ready to accept everything that is favorable to the execution, even if we don't like it. So that is austerity. That is tapo divyam, divine austerity. So devotees will perform austerities. Okay. Here, Atrimuni performed austerity until he attained the level of perfection that the demigods light came out from his head, and all the presiding deities of the universe, they saw the lights and they became attracted. Okay, so through the Ashtanga yoga process, one can also attain this level, and this is what Atrimuni is doing. Atrimuni is not going through Bhakti yoga process; he's going through Ashtanga yoga process, harmonizing the breathing, the air within the body by controlling the breath, and Dhruva Maharaj did the same thing. So that level can be attained, attracting divine intervention can be attained either by Ashtanga yoga or by other yogas or Bhakti yoga. But Bhakti yoga is the safest because the consciousness is also purified alongside. So let us take note of this. Devotees should not be lazy in performing austerities. Okay? Hare Krishna. Next verse, please. Volunteer to read the next verse. Let's be interactive. Let's be active. Aspraso Muni Gandhava Sida Vidya Daru Ragai Vitayamana Yasasa Tad Ashrama Padam Yayu. At that time, the three deities approached the hermitage of Atrimuni, accompanied by the denizens of the heavenly planet, the Gandharvas, the Siddhas, the Vidyadharas, and the Nagas. Thus they entered the sage who had become famous by his austerities. Purport. It is advised in the Vedic literature that one should take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the Lord of the universe and the Master of creation, maintenance, and dissolution. He is known as the Super Soul. And when one worships the Super Soul, all other deities, such as Brahma and Shiva, appear with Lord Vishnu because they are direct. Any comment on this?
Yes.
Any comment on
Yes.
this?
Hare
Go
Krishna
ahead.
Prabhu. My comment, my observation or comment is that the super soul exists both in Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. So that's why they're able to be directed by Lord Vishnu as the super soul.
So when Vishnu is pleased, automatically Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma are pleased too. Okay? And this is the basis of the sloka. Yatataramulani se sanena tripyanti skanda bujo pasaka pranoparaksha yatendriyanam tataiva sarvaranama chutejya. It is one of your memorization slokas. And that by pouring water to the root of a plant or by sending food to the stomach, all the leaves or the branches and the stems of the tree are nourished, and all the limbs of the body and the senses are nourished automatically. Just pour water to the root. So the intelligent man waters the root. By the mercy of the pure devotees, even though we are not very advanced, we are already in touch with the root and we are watering it under the guidance of the pure devotees, of those who have seen the root. We are watering the root. And this is the good fortune of the devotees. Because the non-devotees, the munis and sages and powerful persons like Atri, and powerful sages, before they can find the root, they are still looking for the root, actually. They are still looking for the root. But neophyte as we are, we have already seen the root, found the root, and we are already watering the root. While these great sages are still looking for the root. And this is the costless mercy of the pure devotees, or the spiritual masters. By their mercy, we are in contact with the root. And by their guidance, we are watering the root. So all glories to the pure devotees of the Lord. Hare Krishna. So when Vishnu is pleased, automatically all the other demigods are pleased, because Vishnu is the super soul. And when the super soul is pleased, all other souls are automatically pleased. That is why when Vishnu is pleased, Brahma and Lord Shiva are also pleased automatically, because they are subsets of Vishnu. Okay? Having said that, let's move ahead, unless you have a question. Somebody should read the next verse.
Let me take it. Tapadur Bhava Samyoga Vidyotika Manamune Utistan Nikapadena Tadasha Vibuddha Shabam. Translation. The sage was standing on one leg, but as soon as he saw that the three deities had appeared before him, he was so pleased to see them all together that despite great difficulty, he approached them on one leg. No purport. So I take the verse 24. Pranam yandandavad bhuvad upatastereta nanjali vishahamsa supanastam swais chinnais cha chinitam. Translation. Thereafter, he began to offer prayers to the three deities who were seated on different carriers: a bull, a swan, and Garuda, and who led India, and who held in their hands a drum, kusha grass, and discus. The sage offered them his respects by falling down like a stick. Purport. Danda means a long rod, and vat means like. Before a superior, one has to fall down on the ground just like a stick. And this sort of offering of respect is called dandavat. Atri Rishi offered his respect to the three deities in that way. They were identified by their different careers and different symbolic representations. In that connection, it is stated here that Lord Vishnu was sitting on Garuda, a big aqualine bird, and was carrying in his hand a disc. Brahma was sitting on the swan and had in his hand kusha grass. And Lord Shiva was sitting on the bull and carrying in his hand a small drum called a damaru. Atri Rishi recognized them by their symbolic representations and different careers, and thus he offered them prayers and respects. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So this is the meaning of Dandavat. Danda means a long rod, and Vat means like. So once you offer obeisances to superiors, falling down on the ground just like a stick, just like a rod, this sort of offering respect is called Dandava. This is the meaning of Dandava. So first of all, it is good to be in knowledge because Atriya Muni was able to recognize these personalities by what? By dint of their careers and the symbols they were holding. So it is good for devotees to be in knowledge. When you see peacock on the head, you know that this is Krishna. When you see a plow in the hands or on the shoulder, you know this is Balaram. When you see someone sitting on a lion, you say this is Doga. When you see someone sitting on a rat, a deity sitting on a big rat, you know this is Ganesh. When you see a deity sitting on the swan, you know that this is Saraswati. And when you see a deity sitting on lotus flower, you know that this is Lakshmi Devi. So by the same token, devotees will be in knowledge. Atramuni was in knowledge, and he was able to identify these three distinctive deities by their careers and by the symbols they carry in their hand. Okay? Lord Vishnu always carried the disc. And Lord Vishnu's carrier is Garuda. So when you see Garuda carrying a personality and is holding a disc, you know that this is Vishnu. You don't need to be told. Say, who are you? Introduce yourself. They are introduced by their careers and by the symbols they carry. As soon as you see somebody is sitting on a bull and is carrying among the devas, and is carrying a damaru or a small drum, immediately you know that this is Lord Shiva. And when you see someone sitting on a swan and carrying a kusha grass, you immediately know that this is Lord Brahma. So it is good to be in knowledge. Good to be in knowledge. Therefore, in Krishna consciousness also, we know the symptoms of pure devotee. We know various things by their symptoms. And when somebody is manifesting some qualities, we immediately know that this is this person. This is his level. So, studying the scripture is for us to be abreast with the knowledge of devotional service. That's why it is divided to Sambandha Gyan. You have to understand that knowledge, the science of relationship, Abidea, the process, then Prayojana, the goal. So let us be conscious at all times. And let's continue to study. Better to be in knowledge than to be in ignorance. In one verse in the Bhagavad Gita, it is said, Yatai damsi samido agni, basmasat kurutetata, gyanana agni sarva karmani, basmasat kurute ajun. That just as the sun dissipates the darkness of ignorance, so also self-knowledge dissipates, how did they put it? That just as the sun alone illuminates the entire universe so also the soul, though one within the body, illuminates the entire body by consciousness. So let us be in knowledge, better to be in knowledge than to be in ignorance. So Dattatreya or Atrimuni was able to recognize these deities based on their careers and the symbols they were carrying in their hands. Okay, what happened next? Now we know why Dattatreya is not counted among the pure devotees. Instead of asking the Supreme Lord to be his son, he wanted someone like the Supreme Personality of God. He wanted the son just like the Supreme Personality of God. Therefore, his desire is considered material desire. And also, the meaning of Dandavat means to fall down like a rod when we meet our superiors. So here we also see Vishnu is carried by Garuda, Lord Shiva is carried by the bull, and Brahma is carried by the swan. Brahma is holding a kusagra, Lord Shiva is holding a damaru drum, and Vishnu is holding the disc. Next verse.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you a question based on what you just said.
Okay.
Atri is not considered a pure devotee because he desired a son like Krishna. What is wrong in desiring a son like Krishna, even if it is not just for the sake of having a very powerful son? A powerful son is desirous by everyone. Would that be considered to be sinful or material? Because for one to be able to even have a proper life of concentration on devotion, one needs a powerful, devoted son. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was specific because he asked for his son that could let him move in the impression of Krishna consciousness. But what is wrong? If Atri knows that Krishna is the Supreme Personality and is designing a son like him, we've seen in the story, in past stories also, Prisingava and his wife desired to have a son like Krishna, but because Krishna has no likeness, so he decided to appear as their son. Could that also be considered material? I need you to expand on this purpose. The reason why it's not considered a pure devotee. Because if we take it for literally based on what you just said, it means that the incarnation of God in his several incarnations until it appears as Krishna to become the son of Mother Yasoda in several lives. It's also material. Can you expand?
I am not the one saying that. That is said in the purport. And let us read the purport of verse 20. And we are going to see more explanation to read in some next verses. Maybe verse 24. 20, okay, not 24. Okay. Let's read the purport to verse 20 again and deliberate on it together. Verse 20, somebody should read the purport, please.
The purport is that it appears that the great Atrimony had no specific idea of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, of course. He must have been conversant with the Vedic information that there is a Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the creator of the universe, from whom everything emanated, who maintains the created manifestation, and in whom the entire manifestation is conserved. After dissolution, Yatuvai Imani Bhutani, Tatriya Upanishad 311. The Vedic mantras gives us information of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Atrimony concentrated his mind upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even without knowing his name, just to beg from him a child exactly on his level. And that is very key. He meditated on this without a specific knowledge of him, even without knowing his name, just to beg from him a child exactly on his level. This kind of devotional service, in which knowledge of God's name is lacking, is also described in Bhagavad Gita, where the Lord says that 4 kinds of men with backgrounds of pious activities come to him asking for what they need. Atrimony wanted a son exactly like the Lord, and therefore he's not supposed to have been a pure devotee because he had a desire to be fulfilled. And that desire to be fulfilled, and that desire was material. Although he wanted a son exactly like the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the desire was materially because he did not want the personality of Godhead himself, but only a child exactly like him. If he had desired the Supreme Personality of Godhead as his child, he would have been completely free of material desires because he would have wanted the Supreme Absolute Truth. But because he wanted a similar child, his desire was material. Thus, Atrimony cannot be counted among the pure devotees.
So, how do you see that? Is there the answer found there?
Yeah, the answer is found there, but the way it is presented is what I am trying to get a little bit of more expansion, because if we say that he desires a child like Krishna, that is why his desire is material. We have seen in the history those who desire light, and this is very unique because Prabhupada made it very explicitly clear. Dhruva Maharaj, which you gave an example when you were explaining this, he wanted Krishna. He wasn't wanting personality, someone like Krishna. Prisingaba, he wanted Krishna as his son, not a son like Krishna. I'm not sorry. Prisingaba wanted a child like Krishna, but he has a knowledge of Krishna. Atrimony also has a knowledge of Krishna, and that is why I'm asking the question. So Prisingaba, according to his storyline, he does not know, and his wife, they don't want any child less than God, like Krishna. So therefore, they went to perform austerity. And because there was no son like Krishna, Krishna decided to appear as their son. So they wanted a son like Krishna. The same thing Atri Muni is doing here. He heard about the glories of Krishna's extraordinary positions. He doesn't have a specific knowledge of him, but he heard about this from the scriptures. So he desired a son like him. So my question then is that if hearing about Krishna, because we also came to devotional service, because we hear about the extraordinary qualification of Krishna and his supreme potency, his opulence, his activities. So we are attracted. Could our desire be considered to be material?
So, anyone has a response to this question? Because Srila Prabhupada knew all this, yet he classified the Atrimony desire to be material. Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya, He knew about Prisnigaba, he knew about all the other desires, even Rukmini desiring to have Krishna as her husband and all that. He knew much more. Yet, the Prabhupada classified Atriyamuni's desire as material. Why? Bhakti Vaibhav students, let's deliberate on this.
Hare Krishna.
The question is on track. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
I'm
Krishna,
using
Prabhu.
aside from his error of desiring the child like the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I'm deducing a point here which seems to be also focal. He says that the Vedic mantras give us information of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, Atrimuni concentrated his mind upon that Supreme Personality of Godhead. But the focal point is that even though without knowing his name, and almost all pure devotees, they know the Lord and they know his names, his various names in diverse forms. But here, Atrimuni is said to be concentrating his mind on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even though he doesn't know his name. And we know how potent
You are the one putting the dough. You are the one putting the dough. You are the one putting the dough.
So sorry, I say even without knowing his name, even that one is more straight than even though. He says even without knowing his name, means that he doesn't know his name at all.
Yes. So he had knowledge of the Supreme Personality, but not knowledge through devotion. He didn't
Yes.
have a true devotional service. He had knowledge.
Prabhu, you mute.
Okay. So that is it. Let's deliberate. This is a very good point. And this is the point I was also looking at. But let's look at it. How do you see that? What's your understanding about that, Salik Prabhu? First, before somebody else. What is your...
Okay.
Can I
Are you
chip in before I speak?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
There are two things, desiring Krishna and desiring a child like Krishna. And the point we're discussing here is there are stories of those who have desired like Krishna, child like Krishna. Now, because of his desires of a child like Krishna is considered to be material. And Prabhupada said he has no specific. So the question then is that the other stories that we're referencing, Dhruva Maharaj also does not know who Krishna is. He doesn't even know. He just asked. He doesn't even know. He asked, and they said, "Oh, this is what you should go to the forest." His mother did not even know what the sage's name he should chant. But the unique thing is that he met Narada Muni, and Narada Muni initiated him. And when we look at the story of Prisingaba, I'm trying
Let's
to
not
bring out.
go to Prisnigaba first. Let's stop at let's analyze the Dhruva story first. First,
Okay.
Dhruva wanted the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yes.
He was not looking for someone like the Supreme. He wanted the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. And secondly, he was initiated by Narada Muni, a pure devotee. So that initiation, that point of initiation is very, very significant because just like a bell metal is transformed into what? Into gold by the process of alchemy. The touch of the spiritual master creates a transformative effect on the potential Vaishnava. The point of initiation is very critical. That means devotional sentiments were infused into him by the spiritual master. And therefore, even when he saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead appear before him, say, okay, you have these desires. You have this desire now. May all your desires. He said, I don't want those desires again. Those desires are just like broken pieces of glasses. They are useless. So there was purification by the touch of the pure devotees. And because he wanted the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that purification took place. The Supreme Personality of God appeared before him, and all his senses were separately enlivened. Separately enlivened. Now come to Atrimuni now. Atrimuni was performing these yoga processes, Astanga yoga and breathing exercises, pranayama. He had no contact with a pure devotee. That pure devotee of the Lord, only whom can infuse bhakti into the heart of a devotee. So bhakti was not there. He was a yogi who knew the art of harmonizing energies both within and without. But that touch of bhakti is absent. And only through bhakti yoga can one understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And when one understands him, he has no other material desire again. But Atrimuni had no touch of bhakti or a bhakta. And that was why devotional service was glorified over all other processes in the previous canto, towards the end. The glories of devotional service, as in Kapila Muni and his dealings with his mother. And therefore, as devotional service, pure devotional service is glorified over all other yogas, so also the bhakta is glorified above all other transcendentalists. Therefore, we say all glories to devotional service. Why? Because other processes can offer you everything except bhakti, except the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And bhakti and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, bhakti yoga can offer you the spiritual, that which cannot be offered by any other process. Therefore, bhakti is superior to all other processes. That is the conclusion. Therefore, all glories to devotional service. So by the same token here, in Atrimuni's activities, pure devotional service is absent, the bhakta is absent, and therefore he had not gotten to the doorstep of pure devotional service. You see? So putting that or getting energy from this, we can still see it a little bit more clearly. Why is Srila Prabhupada, even after knowing the activities of all these other personalities that we have quoted, he still classified categorically that Atrimuni, because his desires were material. He wanted the sun. He didn't want the Supreme Personality of God. He wanted the sun like the Supreme Personality of God. Supreme Lord. But he has not served pure devotees. He has not gotten initiation from a pure devotee. He has the personality of God. Actually, he did not know how the Supreme Lord looked like. He did not know. Therefore, the three of them appeared to him, and he could not know who is supreme among them. All of them are being called in a way that any of them can come, and all of them came. And they fulfilled his desire, they smiled, and they fulfilled his desire. And he gave birth to their expansions, three of them. So even though that has happened, it's not a pure devotee. This is a very serious issue. Therefore, pure devotional service is unique and exceptional Just as all other processes are great, they are transcendental, but pure devotional service is bhakti, is transcendental and most glorious because it can capture the Supreme Personality. Only through pure devotional service can we capture the Supreme Personality of God. Therefore, pure devotional service or bhakti yoga is superior to all other yoga, and a bhakta is superior to all other bhaktas. That's why we said, while people like Atrimuni are still looking for the root, by the mercy of the pure devotee, we who are apparently very neophytes are already watering the root. What the munis are looking for, we are already there watering. When the munis, after many years of speculation, arrive there, they will meet us, Rasavan sitting down watering the root, Salika sitting down watering the root. So who are these people? Who are these people? How did they get there? Look at where I passed to reach here, and they're already there. That means they're superior. How did they? But they look like they don't even know Ashtanga Yoga. They cannot ignite fire with mantras and all that, but they are watering the root, which is the essence of all devotional practices. So that's why Lord Brahma was very surprised when he saw the cowherd boys. The cowherd boys were playing with Krishna, snatching food from his hand and wrestling with him and doing it. He became shocked. He said, is this the Supreme Personality of Godhead that I worship, that who is only through Jagya? Is it this same person? What is happening? Then there is a sloka there. Itam satam brahma sukha anubhutya dasya gatanam paradaivatena maya sritanam naradarakena sakam vijapuru krita punya punja. That means after accumulating so pious activities, some people are now playing with the Supreme Personality of Godhead as friends, childhood friends. When he tested, when he realized, he started to take birth as a grass on the outskirts of Vrindavan so that the devotees with Krishna and his friends can trample on him. Let Krishna say, I cannot stay here. He said, I cannot stay here anymore. Please allow me to go back to go and resume my duty as a universal administrator. I am not yet a bhakta in this category. Please let me go. Let me go. Forgive me. Whatever offense I have committed, undermining you and your friends. You see? So this is the glories of pure devotional service. Only through pure devotional service can one actually capture the Supreme Personality of Godhead and even desire. And by the mercy of the pure devotee, you can know how Krishna looks, the form of Krishna, his activities and pastimes. So this is a very high level of spiritual activity, pure devotional service or devotional service as packaged and given to us by his divine grace.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Prabhu. I think you have hit the nail on the head where I wanted to, because if we, there are two things you said in a row that made me to ask this question. One is that atrimony is because it desires a child like Krishna. And second, that the mood of the prayers of a devotee. So I was putting the two together because desiring a child like Krishna is the external reason, but the primary reason why Atri was not able to be, his desire was considered material, is because he's a materialist, he's not a devotee. Prisingaba was a pure devotee, and his wife himself, Prishni and his Sutapa, they are devotees. The scripture says that they are devotees. And then Dhruva Maharaj was not a devotee, but he got the mercy of a devotee. So only by unmotivated devotional service, by the mercy of the Lord or his devotee, can give one the qualification to attract the Supreme Personality of God. That's what I wanted us to emphasize. Because if we just simply say that it's because he desires a child like Krishna, there are so many other personalities that desire child like Krishna. Krishni and Sutapa did not desire Krishna. They desire a child like Krishna, just the same thing like Atri. But because they are pure devotees, they were able to attract the Lord to come. But Atri was not a devotee. He was just a yogi. So, and then no matter how powerful a yogi is, he cannot attract Krishna unless he is a devotee. That's the point I wanted to bring out. Thank you. You already touched.
Thank you very much for your question. and it has led to clarification of these points. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Yes, this is a very critical. Therefore, we should value the devotional service we are in contact with. Understand? We should value it. And the greatest mistake is to leave devotional service because of any external circumstance. Because of this person's behavior, I'm leaving devotional service. Because of you are leaving devotional, you are doing anybody, it's yourself you are doing. So the more the challenges, the confrontation, if Krishna want to test you, is it not true other devotees will test you? Then you become very angry and you are leaving Krishna now because of other devotees. You're putting your food on the floor because somebody has taken your plate. Then you leave. The way Dogga will capture you, he'll catch you as a prisoner of war and flog you more than every other person. So you are pretending all along, serving my master. I thought you are. And in the end, you will see yourself dying. If you begin to query, hey, if I remain in devotional service to death, it would have been better than me living. All the things I left, I cannot achieve any other. And then, have you seen if a fish is caught in the trap by a hook, for instance? He saw the bait there, small fish dangling. He wanted to eat it, but as soon as he made the attempt, he is caught by the hook. He will not enjoy the small fish he went for. But meanwhile, he has been caught by the hook. So the desire will lead you to that thing, but you can never enjoy it. And material nature will struggle. You see a death will just grip your neck and say, you are a fool. I change your body. You cannot enjoy what you live for. So don't leave devotional service for anything. Because it's simply an allurement to trap you and hold your neck and hook your throat. It is the hook that becomes dominant, not the fish, the prey that you went to eat. You cannot enjoy it. So this is how material allurement is. So we have to be careful as devotees. Nobody should think that is superior to devotional service. He has become superior to devotees, so he's leaving devotional service. When you see me next time, you will not believe who I am. This is Maya. Maya is influencing you to talk like that, influencing your language. When you see me next time, you know who is you. Who are you? What are you going to get that other people have not got? Can you bluff Krishna? Somebody who can take away your life can bluff him. Somebody whose choice you are running after, you can block him. He hold your throat, kick you out, take all the choice back from you. It's all over. So let us be very attentive. Let us be grateful to Srila Prabhupada and ISKCON, and let us not allow anybody's whimsical behavior to push us out of devotional service. Nobody can therefore take you out to do except you want to live. And that point of view wanting to live, you have to be very, very careful. That time you are doing yourself, you are putting your food on the floor because somebody has taken your plate. That person will continue to go on in devotional service while you have left. So who has lost? Okay, Chitraketu Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you so much for all these explanations, and I'm particularly happy and touched by the explanations why Atriya was not, even though performing so many things, is not a pure devotee. And we also thank Salika Prabhu for the addition that he also gave. Is also a very good point. My lesson
that is the start of the whole point. So all glory to Salika Prabhu. If you are not queried, we would have just gone fast. Hare Krishna. So conclude fast because our time is up.
I hear. Thank you. My little something that is wondering me about it is that as devotional service is being glorified, how is it that for all this long while, since the time Krishna appeared on the planet, why is it that there are still, even as the explanations you are giving, I still feel like there are still some yogis who have still in the, let's say in the upper realm, who have still not get access to Bhakti. And is it that Krishna does not let them see? Because I believe there are persons like Narada Muni who can also teach them about Bhakti. And we on this planet have fortunately got it by the mercy of Prabhupada and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has established it. It was one of his purpose that he initiated the Rupa Goswamis to do while he established the holy name around. So it goes together, Bhakti and chanting. So why is that still there are some still yogis in the universe, let's say in the upper, yogis like Atriya Muni, they are not still getting it. And they have to, it looks like they have to even come to Kali Yoga to come and find it. Meanwhile, it was glorified in the times of the gopis. The gopis started it. This is my little wondering, why is it so? Is it that Krishna doesn't want them to know? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Please, can somebody contribute answer to this question before we conclude on it? Time is not on our side. So somebody should quickly come in and say something before we put the rest in the car park so that we can start from there next class. Somebody should say something. Ji Rasavan, Ji Madhuvan.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. My little contribution is that it depends on one's desires. If one is still attached to sense gratification or materialism, and one has to be fortunate enough, that fortune must be there, to meet a pure devotee or a spiritual master before one starts the devotional process. So you can practice so many yogas, but until you come to the level of Bhakti Yoga, then one starts the journey of Krishna realization. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you. If there is no more addition, I'm okay with this. But if there's still more, I'll be happy. If not, you can go on, Prabhu. Thank you.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah, the little I will add is that the existence has always been like that. We are all evolving. It's just like a child is born and he passes through stages to become an adult. And as he's growing, then the mind too is evolving in understanding things. So by dint of our past, karma and everything, it's just like the door to the spiritual world is widely open to every living entity. But not every living entity is qualified to enter. You have to qualify yourself. And by the process of qualifying yourself is also another stage of involvement. So everything is evolving. So when one reaches that stage where he can understand these things, he can accept these things, then he accepts. As the mercy of Lord Chaitanya is always there. But why is it that all people are not embracing it? So before you can embrace that mercy of Lord Chaitanya and even Prabhupada, still there's some qualification. This is the little I would like to add.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me just contribute something. The first point in answer to your question is that Krishna Lila is Nitya, is eternal. So the living entities are continuously going and coming in the Lila of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So those souls that you refer to, since the ancient time, who had the opportunity to have contact with the Lord or his devotee, have already been liberated. But because the lila of the Lord is nitya, is eternal, so this pastime keeps on going and ongoing. That is one point to understand. So it is not necessarily that the souls that were there in the Treta Yuga or Satya Yuga or the beginning of Kali Yuga 5,000 years ago are the same soul existing on the material planet now. That may be difficult to be able to put a pen to because we have no adhika to be able to see that. But the reality, according to these Vedic scriptures, is that the living entities are all coming. It's just like in an eternal cycle of activities of the Lord. So the living entities are continuously desiring. And as they desire, they come in, and those who are realizing are going, those another one are coming. So it's a nitya lila, it's eternal pastimes. That's one point. The second point is what Madhuvan Prabhu said. Yeah, which corroborates with the first point. Because of the desires of the living entity, which is also eternal, which has no limit, which has no time bound. The living entity are consistently, because the Lord is consistently manifesting himself, and the living entities are consistently manifesting. So, according to their desire, they are finding themselves in the web of this ocean of samsara, repeated birth and death, and a coming and a coming. And the third point to the answer is that bhakti and the conclusion of bhakti, according to Srila Prabhupada's statement about the Vedic or Vaishnava Siddhanta, is that it's apaurisham. It can never be faulted because we have seen in the past, it's happening now, in the future it will continue to happen, that whoever comes in contact with bhakti or Krishna becomes liberated. So they are constantly getting liberated. So the fact that there are so many sinful or people or yogi even who are still existing here is as a result of the fact that they have not had, those particular entity had not had the opportunity to get the association of the Lord or his devotees, which could give them, according to what Lord Chaitanya said in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Brahmananda Brahmite Konya Bhagavan Jiva. So when a jiva, by fortune, after traversing billions and trillions of years, becomes fortunate, he will come in contact. And that is what also linked to the question that we treated before. Because at Atri Muni, it wasn't just an ordinary yogi. He was a powerful yogi, but no matter how powerful a yogi is, he is still a yogi. He has not become a bhakta. And then as long as he doesn't become a bhakta, he might be in there millenniums after millennium. And that is what Krishna says in conclusion of chapter 6 of Bhagavad Gita. Of all yogis, one who is connected to me in bhakti is the supreme. So that's my understanding of the question that you asked in terms of reference. I hope it helps.
Yes, thank you so much. All of you so helps. Thank you. I'm very grateful. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, let me just thank you very much once again, all of you, for your beautiful contributions. That's why we are Bhakti Vaibhav students. In this class, we are all learning from each other. I'm just a facilitator, and we appreciate each and every one. And that's why we are looking forward to making the arrangement. I don't know, it is not maturing yet, but all Bhakti Vaibhav students should do the teacher training courses and become teachers, because you are all senior devotees, and you have learned a lot. But the discipline of passing through systematic study under a facilitator is itself the qualification for becoming a teacher also. So when the arrangement is made, we want to be really self-contained to the extent that all our teachers should come from here. Future teachers of Bhakti Vaibhav, Bhakti Sastri should be among us. It's we, all of you, we have to become. So we are looking forward to that. Having said that, I want to lament a little bit of the non-attendance of Kamalash and Yadunath Prabhu today. We really want full attendance. The attendance that matters most. Every other thing is secondary. Everybody is busy. All of you are managers here and there, but you have managed to be here. So this is the dedication we want. We want students to be consistent in all the classes. So that is my little lamentation. Having said that, I quote that verse again. Itam satam brahma sukha anubhutya dasya gatanam paradai vatena maya sritanam naradarakena sakam vijahru krita punya punja. What does that mean? That means Lord Brahma himself was surprised. He was shocked. He was so shocked that is this the Supreme Personality of Godhead who is Jagya Purusa that I worship, that it's only through Jagya, only the remnant of Jagya? Is it that same person playing with these boys, these small boys, as mates snatching food from each other's hand? So they say after accumulating pious volumes and volumes of pious activities, then these boys are now, some people are now playing with the Supreme Personality of Godhead as his boyfriends, his mates, enjoying all this kind of pastime. So that was very shocking, very, very shocking. It was a great shock to Lord Brahma, and that was why he tried to test to see whether truly this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he was shocked more and more when he realized it. So that is it. So Atriya Rishi, Atriya Muni, and the rest, different planetary systems, directions of Brahma, no being, Bhaktas and all that. Even Brahma, who is the father of all of them, being bewildered and all the rest. Anyway, on one hand, they have not gathered pious credit to become that. On the other hand, the Lord himself can put some people in some level of illusion so that he can teach others that even however great you are, unless you are a devotee, you cannot understand what is going on this level. So you have to become a devotee in all circumstances. Okay? So thank you for your various contributions. I want us to diplomatically be here. It's already 9 o'clock. And we say that if you go to your... Okay, let me read the direct translation of that slogan. That those who are engaged in self-realization, appreciating the Brahman effulgence of the Lord, and those engaged in devotional service, accepting the Supreme Personality of Godhead as masters, as well as those who are under the clutches of Maya, thinking the Lord an ordinary person, cannot understand that certain exalted personalities, after accumulating volumes of pious activities, are now playing with the Lord in friendship as cowherd boys. This is Sukade Goswami instructing Maharaj Parishit, and it is quoted from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Tam satam brahma sukhanubhutya dasyam gatanam paradai vatena maya sritanam naradarakena sakam vijahru krita punya punja. So please, on this note, we come to the end of today's class, and we want